Hi guys, welcome. This is Canon's new EOS 60D, a mid-range camera, 18 megapixels, body price of about £900. At the minute we're right in the Priory at Christchurch, and there's an absolutely stunning shot that I've taken already here of against the blue sky with the church itself. It's a real kind of a day out with the camera. But what about the camera itself? What is it's got that's different? Well, it's 18 megapixel camera, APS-C sensor, so you're still going to get the 1.6 times. So great if you need that extra reach. You've got 5 frames a second shooting, just over in fact, and it all runs through the Digic 4 processor. Unfortunately, unlike its big brother, the 7D, it doesn't have twin processors. But nevertheless, certainly from what I've seen, it does a good job. Now, one thing that's particularly unique about this camera, and a first for Canon in fact, is let me just turn the camera around here. You will see it has this pull-out, fully rotating 3-inch LCD screen. Now, this is actually just over 1 million pixels in fact, so 3 inches, 1 million pixels, absolutely superb. So a unique feature which really does enable you to shoot with a difference in terms of if you're up high, you can angle your LCD and actually get a shot, particularly if you're shooting crowds at a scene. And if you're down low and you want to shoot something like, I don't know, at this time of year, perhaps fungi or leaves or sprouting shoots of things, absolutely excellent for getting the camera down, twisting the screen, and of course it's got live view with a decent autofocus system on it now as well. You can position the camera down without having to use angle finders or crane your neck or get yourself filthy dirty as we all used to in the past. What else is new? Now, just the look and feel of the camera is different from things like the 50D and the 550D. It looks pretty much the same, and they also keep these things fairly generic. But one thing I think they've downgraded ever so slightly are the buttons on the back. They don't have as positive a feel as some of the previous Canon models, particularly the play button, which to me actually feels a bit lost. Now, they've gone with a rotating wheel on the back as well, and a set of press dial here, which it's very effective and it's quick and simple to use. And one touch for your video function, so now you can just hit the button and you're straight into live view, and of course it will shoot video on that one touch too if you set it up to do so. Right, this screen and some of the more of the menu features inside the camera that would be interesting to talk about. It's got Canon's quick menu system, which allows you to quickly find your way around using the scroll wheel at the back, so you can change all the quick key functions, and that's the whole point of it. It's called the quick button. But something that they've added in this time, and following on I suppose from people like Olympus and Pentax, they've added in a menu system so that when you bring up a picture, you've actually got some, you've actually got some in-camera editing options. Now, the first set are just a set of 4 different filters. So if you go into the quick menu again, scroll down here to the 2 little filters. Now you've got what's called creative filters. So you've got in there grainy black and white, which there are 3 steps to. You've got soft focus, toy camera effect, which is a little bit like Olympus's toy camera, and then you've got this miniature effect where it puts that band. It works better on high vantage point pictures with people or objects, where you get that band in the middle that's absolutely clear and in focus, and it just softens the rest into a blur. Something else that's been introduced into the 60D is its in-camera raw processing. So you go into the first blue menu, and down the bottom here, raw image processing, click OK, and press the set button. You can change various different settings on the camera itself, from things like brightness adjustment. You've got white balance shot settings, picture style settings, auto lighting optimizer. We've also got high ISO speed, all the kind of in-camera things that you'd expect. You can even change the quality of the JPEG and the actual files inside, change the color space. So there's an awful lot you can do, and both with the creative filters and with the raw processing, it's non-destructive. So what that means is anything that you change, it creates a new JPEG file at the end of the stream of pictures that you've already taken. So you keep the original and you get a brand new JPEG. So it's a very clever function indeed. Built-in flash, guide number of about 13, so powerful enough, suitable enough for most situations. I think if you were doing something like a wedding on a bright day, it might struggle to actually do any sort of distance with fill-in flash. Now, being a good sensor, probably one of the best that Canon have actually done in APS-C for a long time, you're going to need to put decent glass on the front of this. I think the standard kit lens you may become frustrated with, and certainly because the amount of pixels and the quality of the sensor, you might find that you're starting to see vignetting in the edges or chromatic aberration. My suggestion would be to put a half decent bit of glass on the front. From my point of view, I don't think the camera would embarrass itself, and I think you get a little bit more from the camera, from the resolution that that lens can provide. It certainly has got enough pixels to be able to cope with that. Focusing is the usual Canon standard. It's fast. It's got 9 AF points, where the center one is 2.8 sensitive. You have the 63 zone IFCL sort of multi-contrast color metering system, which is absolutely brilliant. It does have a tendency to protect the highlights a little bit, but that's probably a safe thing anyway when you're looking back at your histogram. So all in all, and face value in terms of features, this camera really does stand up against its competitors, and it is an improvement on something like the 550D. It's a little bit bigger, slightly faster. I think you certainly get a bit more resolution out of the camera itself. The only downside really is that £900 price tag, but we'll come to that a little bit later. So what we've done now is actually come down onto the quay at Christchurch itself, and as you can see, the lighting conditions are quite harsh. The sun's quite high in the sky, but I thought this would be sticking the camera in some of the program modes. Let's really test it to see what it's all about. You know, it actually handles the situation quite well. Focusing is right, it's fast as you'd expect from a Canon, and the meter itself again protects the highlights, but you want that to happen anyway. I'm shooting raw, but I've got it in one of the landscape program modes. So I'm going to whip it round, put it in one of the, just in program mode itself, just to see if that makes any difference really. Same shot. No difference really. The metering from Canons is consistent. The white balance from my point of view, I actually prefer it to Nikon's, to be honest, because it doesn't have that yellowy green kind of hue naturally. It's much kind of more accurate to my mind, and much more what the eye is seeing itself. Let me just see if I can catch this boat. Let's stick it in sports mode, okay, and I'll see what I can do. Instantly there, switching it to sports mode, bang, it goes into top gear. We got the 5.3 frames a second, focusing goes to continuous AF, and let's have a quick look and see what I've got. Yeah, I've got a lovely set of images of the boat just panning around. So the camera really does perform very, very well in terms of handling. It's quick to use. Focus, certainly with the lens I've got here, is the 24-105 image stabilized lens. No, it's a more expensive lens, but I think, to be honest with you, this camera deserves to have this bit of glass on the front. So there's some swans over there, so I'm going to go and give this screen a try, and the constant, the AF, live view AF. Let's go and see how it performs over there. Right, somebody can see we've got some swans in the background there. I've set the camera up, put it back in sport mode. I've got the screen out, wide angle, and we're just going to see what we can get, shall we? Now, I might get bitten, so if you're squeamish, look away. This is great, look at that. What's that? Change the different modes, a little bit of flash. Let's see if we can get it to focus. There we go. That's really good. I'll take the lens hood off actually, because that's getting in the way of the flash. Get a swan's eye view. See, this is perfect for what this viewfinder is all about. Look at that. Okay, watch this. This screen is really great. It's good for candies. Little sneaky shots. It's just a bit of fun really. There's a few old people sitting down over there, so let's grab a shot of them, shall we? I'm going to pretend I'm looking at my screen, point the camera at them. I've got in live view, and it's in the live AF, so it's more accurate, a little bit slower. Grab a shot, wait for lock on. Got a shot. Now I'm sure if Cartier-Bresson had this feature, he would have loved it. So what have we got? We've got an 18 megapixel camera, APS-C sensor, Digic 4 processor. Oh, I can go over the spec till the cows come home. But is this something that is going to relight Canon's fire? Not really. It just does what it does very, very well. The flip out screen, yeah, I really like it. It adds an extra dimension to what you can do with the camera. Certainly more creative angles you can shoot. Image quality, from what I've seen today and previous tests I've done for the magazine, they're very good picture quality, both in terms of resolution, sharpness, accuracy of colour and white balance, etc. And even at the very high ISOs, up to 3200 ISO, there was virtually no noise in this thing. And I was shooting in horrible, dark office light. I locked the camera off on a tripod. It got to 64 and then 28, and obviously at the top you were starting to see some noise, but it was pretty damn impressive. So all round, this is a very, very good camera. It's just £900 at the minute is a lot of money. Its competitors at the minute, well, there's a new Nikon D7000. I haven't got my hands on that just yet. I've been to the press launch of it, and it looks an impressive camera. Although it doesn't go head to head with this, it's going to be very close. And it's the first camera that Nikon have done that is beyond 12 megapixels that isn't full frame. So that's a big sea change for them. So it'd be very interesting to see what these two cameras can do together. But I like Canon gear, I really do. It suits me, it fits in my hand. I like the menu system, I like the pictures that it produces. And this really is, for me, a very good camera. I think £900 is a lot of money, but I think it's one of these sorts of cameras that you will hold on to. And the only time you'd probably change it is if you dropped it and smashed it and they don't make it anymore, or there's a serious technology change. You might want something like the 7D because you're shooting something specialised. All round, very good camera, and for me, I would give it 18.5 out of 20. Very good camera.